I think to go
I had
through
to
the
go.
elected members.
Yes, so did I.
Different side.
I had to go through SharePoint. I was thinking, is it just me? I don't know, well, I can find it. So
For the Vincent, I couldn't do it.
yeah, from Vincent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Morning and welcome to the second last meeting for the Vincent Community Board on the 29th of July 2025. So we have got nobody for the public forum today, but we do have an apology from Di. Somebody happy to move that we accept that?
I will.
Tracy, Lindley, all in favour? Against? Carried. We also have an apology just from the Mayor who's currently away, but we'll get a bit of an update from her later in the meeting. So we'll move on to the confirmation of the minutes from our previous meeting. Is somebody happy to move that? Martin and was that Lindley? All in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Declarations of interest. So just a reminder for members to be aware and just give Sarah an update if anything changes. Is there anything for this meeting? So we'll move on to agenda item 25.5.2, which is on page 20, road stopping adjustment to 34 Muttontown Road, the Muttontown Limited.
It's Zelda, good timing.
Perfect timing.
And with your permission, I just out here and support Zelda in this end. So,
Don't need to play musical chairs. Hey, morning.
So the items just to another road stopping in Muttontown Road. Basically, it's just a legalisation of what's already being used by the owner of the road reserve. There's no services in that strip, so it will fall within the road reserve after the road stopping. They will be paying for all the cost. There's no joining owner consents required. So I'm just asking for approval of the road stopping to proceed.
Any questions or comments?
Pretty straightforward. I'm quite happy to move the resolutions.
Second that.
So that's A, B and C. All in favour?
Yeah.
Aye. Against? Carried.
Thank you.
Nice and quick today.
it's another-
A good report.
yeah.
All right, so that instantly moves us on to agenda item 25.5.3 on page 28, which is the interim Vincent financial report for the period ending 30 June 2025. And can I say this is very organised to get this to us this quickly.
I do intend to try and get you the June one relatively early. It is only an interim financial report. However, majority of your costs and of course the revenue should be in there. There will be some slight changes, but nothing too dramatic. So it's just to give you a nice heads up while it's relevant rather than waiting until the rest. So take the paper as being read. So as stated, this is the interim financial report for 30 June 2025. Overall, there was a favourable operation variance of 450,000 against the revised budgets, with a surplus of 1.7 million against a planned surplus of 316,000, which was 35. So revenue has a favourable variance of 34,000, sorry. Driving this variance, use of fees and other income, reserves contributions and land sales. Grants and subsidies are behind, and they include grants received for the Alexandra Lindy Park project. Land sales, as stated in previous reports, includes the sale of the Uncount Hall and also Muttontown land. This is what is driving the increase to the surplus from the annual plan. Expenditure has a favourable variance of 116,000, and driving this are grants, which are slightly behind budget, other costs, contracts, building repairs and maintenance. This is being offset, of course, by unfavourable variances their fuel and energy, staff, cost allocations and professional fees being higher than budget. As stated in previous reports, the professional fees are higher due to the disposal of land at Muttontown Road, which is being offset by the land sale. And the fuel and energy variance is driven from the Alexandra outside pool. And staff costs is also from the Alexandra pool, which is offset by the higher income from all ends of school income. Capital expenditure has a favourable variance of 764,000, with a total of 73% of the budget being spent. So the majority of this favourable variance is in parks and reserves, and the projects are still in different stages. There is a bit of a list in the report for you. I won't go into all the detail, with the larger project being the Alexandra River Park, which, as we know, is well progressing. Property has a favourable variance of 113,000. This variance hasn't changed since the last report, with the Talbot Street building still requiring a few last minute parts of the project to be completed. And the Clyde Community Centre re-roofing and painting project still waiting to be progressed as well. The reserves balance hasn't changed, or the table hasn't changed. We did not have time to be able to prepare a draft interim at the end of this financial year. So it stays as the closing balance for 30 June 24 being 8.3 million in surplus, with an expected estimate at the end of this financial year of being 7.8 million in surplus. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much, Tracy.
Yeah, a couple of questions. And one of them in relation to the fuel and energy. Just obviously not sure whether we can just flesh out a little bit about the pool side of things.
Yeah.
Not sure if that goes which direction of the table that's going to.
You can grab that one. Yeah, so we did have high costs turning the pool on outside just to see if we could up usage while we were there, and usually that heating system would only be turned on for a very short period of time to bring it up to a decent temperature, and then it would be off. This time having it on a little bit longer, the heat exchanger is now due for renewal and to be changed and all that kind of stuff. So that heat exchanging system isn't going to be in play for the next 2 years, so that pool won't be heated for the next 2 years until we work through the LTP in 27 to look to budget for an upgrade if that's something the community wants to do. And I guess the second part was we did have higher overall energy just with new costs and things come through. So, and that's reflected in the new LTP, just the overall running of the pool. So, yeah.
Okay. So just confirming that's only the outdoor pool. The indoor pool is still heated, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they run on while they are connected. What we've done is we've disconnected that so that the indoor pool runs in isolation of itself. And I guess the outdoor pool in summer will be a balmy, air temperature. Would probably be the goal, but I think it would probably sit around the early 20s is where it sort of sits without any heating, provided we have a nice warm Central Otago summer.
How do you monitor the outdoor pool usage? Because you only flick your card at the counter and go left or right.
Yeah, so this season just been the lifeguard that was on the door would do it literally by viewing and hit a counter. So it's not like our libraries and things like that where we have a door counter of counting people in and out. So while not that reliable, we were able to get a bit of a feel, and I think it sat around about 3,000 people sort of passed in and out over that 4 or 5 month period. So yeah, and just to put that in context, we have about 60,000 use that facility a year. Obviously a lot of repeat people in there, but we have 60,000 admissions into that facility. Yeah.
So obviously just thinking about pools. The swim school, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. It's been I think a really good success over the last couple of years, which shout out to the team there. We've got 2,500 students in that now. So if you think about that across the district, our district's got 27,000 people. We've got about 10% of our population in the swim school, which is quite cool. So we have had to put on more swim teachers to meet that demand. And as Donna was saying, that I guess the extra swim teachers have been offset by the income. So yeah, it's good. People are learning to swim, and I think kudos to the team for putting on such a good program. Yeah.
Linda, did you have something you want to add to that?
Well, you just noting the income from Duxton Park. Is stage 4 on the market?
Not just yet, but it is in the process of it. So, in fact, it may some parts are sitting with the developer. So, a minute. Yeah. It was on, and we didn't really get too many bites in it. So now that the market has started to change a little bit, we are seeing more demand starting to come back for that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Tracy?
Just obviously that favourable balance from land sales, and just in particular the hall, I'm just confirming that sales earmarked for the hub, isn't it?
That's correct. It will get transferred through to that project.
Perfect,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
That's an exciting project about to start.
Yes, very much.
And also just, I'm not sure whether this will be you or someone else around the table, just you referred to the bow wave in relation to CapEx. Can you, or somebody, not sure who's sitting around, wants to address that issue?
Yeah, well, there is a better way, but I think we're probably pretty close to 70% this year.
Like 67, I think we're getting close to. So we are still wrapping up one of the invoices, so it's kind of hard to gauge. I think the big thing just to remember with your capital project is we do actually plan for these things. So there is a cash flow implication, whether it's external debt or internal debt. And if we continue to roll it forward, it means that we're actually forecasting something that hasn't actually happened or even planned for it. So it just makes it tricky from a financial perspective to ensure that we don't overstate depreciation funding and things like that.
Does that show on your reserves account on those two columns on the next, the right? You've got the carried forward. Is that where you record that?
So it kind of does, but if everyone carries forward, it will be recognised in there, and so it will change from the opening balances closing balances of the previous year's annual report, and then it will come through in that carry forward column with the in and outs, column B, to forecast the closing balance. But of course, in between times, what we've done is we've had to set an annual plan or an LTP, which is generally prepared 9 to 6 months in advance, and it's a bit difficult to make an adjustment to anything like depreciation funding for a project that's forecasted in the current year that gets delayed into a future year.
In CapEx, the Clyde Community Centre, 51,000, is reflooring, repainting, recarpeting. That wouldn't be the main hall part, would it?
That's outside of my knowledge, I'm afraid. I'm not involved in the project directly.
Yeah, from memory, it's not it's the rooms off the side.
Right, I thought that might be the case.
Yeah.
So have users worried that it might be taken out of commission?
No, no. It's in the 51,000. It doesn't really go
Doesn't
far
go
places like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I did have one question. So on page 30 of the agenda, or page 3 of, I believe, of the report, we've got in there staff as an unfavourable variance of 95k. This relates mainly to Alexandra Pool 113k, offset by staff costs from Vincent elected members 17k. What's that?
So that one there is actually an end of year adjustment, and our governance team are all their staff costs position one bucket, and at the end of the year we do journal it out. So that is what that is. So that one there will disappear with that 17k favourable.
And then the question I always ask, is, do we know what the strategy is for the reserves from each ward now that we're under digitisation?
At this stage, we are in the process of getting through a report on our financial reserves policy, and we'll bring that to the council hopefully soon.
Is that part of the horse trading that goes on?
If I may, it's part of the, as a consequence of distributisation. And so the budget you've just seen in front of you is, in essence, probably the last time you'll see a ward-based budget. There'll be some costs that you'll be responsible for, but most things have been districtised. So as you can see, it's quite a complicated budget. There's going to have to be some rationalisation. And how do we group those sorts of things, and where do they all sit, and how do we address the deficits? How do we address the surpluses? That's the work that they're going to have, the financial team will have working for all the wards, because they are all different from some regard. And some money will have some, like your endowment land funding you've got there, 600 on the table. That sits with the Alex. You know, we know what endowment land means, and those sorts of things. But there's just some tricky bits that we're going to have to work through.
Yeah, there is, most definitely. We thought it would be a relatively straightforward task, but it's actually not. So it's still just
You're bringing so many different budgets together and trying to merge this into a singular one. Yeah. So is there a hope for this to be completed by the beginning of the next term? So whoever's sitting around any of these tables is working under this new.
Yes, because we need to. So our financial accounts need to reflect the fact that we're districtised. So parks and communities, is the funding all parts, all pools, as opposed to sitting in ward buckets. So, that's something we've already done because it's in the LTP, but it's just the rationalisation of the wash up on where we've got to.
And I guess just super conscious that you guys are literally launching straight back into another LTP for 27. So,
And that's partly what I was asking, because it was like you just got through the last LTP, about to launch into the next one. It's the time to get all this done for you guys.
we try and make time, so which is probably why it's a little bit later than we would have liked. We probably would have liked to have had it a little bit sooner, but yeah, unfortunately.
It's a good picket, we are a small council,
Exactly.
and most of the time you see a good majority of our staff coming around these tables, it's not,
Recommended for the first time within a long time, my finance team is actually from the start. Which has been a struggle, even before I come into this current role, always vacancies and pressure. So it's a busy team, but basically we just have to prioritise the work program and I think it's kind of, but no, we're in a fortunate position at the moment that we've got every seat filled.
Awesome. Right, any final? Somebody happy to move that we receive that report? Roger and Lindy, all in favour? Aye. Against? That's carried. So we'll move on to the item 2554, which is the mayor's report. So obviously team is away today, but we are going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to get an update through our mayor in a minute.
nice.
Sorry.
So.
The answer.
Personally. The joys of Facebook, but something else just kind of immediately comes up afterwards. Apologies.
We've just got one more to come. I almost instinctively said, does anyone have any questions? But that's not really going to work. I just wanted to add to that, yeah, LGNZ is a really helpful organisation for a lot of us. I don't know about you guys, but I've benefited hugely, especially from the young elected members group, which is, funnily enough, young elected counts if you were 40 at the time of the election that you came in. So it's definitely something that I think we get our money's worth out of. Is somebody happy to move that we receive that report? Cool, we've got Tony and Tracy. All in favour? Against? Carried. So we move on to the chair's report. Just give me a moment, I'll be pulled back up because I appear to have lost it. Just like Facebook, my technology is not always great either. Here we go. Right, since our last meeting, I've attended the usual meetings with the Alexandra Council Social Services and the Riverside Park. The working group for Riverside Park is currently working towards an opening date of the plaza space for sometime in September, and then work will continue on the ramp. Due to a family commitment, I wasn't able to attend the council meeting when it came to the Abbeyfield, but I was able to rush in the morning and get a video together speaking in support of the VCB's backing of the gifting of land for the Abbeyfield, which I'd like to thank council for accepting and approving. So that group is really excited to be able to move forward with that project. It's going to help this community. I had the opportunity to meet with MPs Carmel Cepoloni, Jan Tanetti and Rachel Brooking to bring to their attention the challenges and successes facing our area. While they're not currently in government, it's still important that we communicate with both sides so that no matter who's in government, they're aware of our area. I've also continued to meet with any group or individual in the community that requests it and have noticed a bit of a trend that I thought I'd just talk about briefly. There is a lot of misinformation or misunderstanding on the cost versus community benefit of services like libraries, pools and community funding. While there is a cost to these services, this community made it clear in the LTP process that there are some things they're willing to pay for. And the earlier museums conversation showed that we get value for money when the community gets hands-on in the services delivered. While some may view them as nice to have, they are a fundamental part of our core business when you ask a good chunk of this community, especially our elderly. These are not a waste of money, but an invaluable part of what makes Vincent an actual community. And so I just wanted to address that because in those one-on-one catch-ups, that's been coming up quite a lot. And as much as the government is saying these are what the core business of the council is, we're actually elected and represent this community, and this community's been telling us something quite different for a while now. And then finally, nominations are still open until 12 p.m. on Friday for local government elections. In the words of the Chase host Bradley Walsh, come have a go if you think you're clever enough. So make sure you get those nominations in quick, because Tamer, as she said in her video, a minute or two over that time and it's too late, there's nothing you can do. So you want to get it in quick so that if there are any issues with that documentation, you can get it sorted before that deadline. That's me. So I'm happy to move that that report be accepted or received. Second, Tony, all in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. And so now we'll move on to members' reports. We are so far ahead of our time that instead of just giving an update on the usual stuff, is anything else you want to add, go for it. We've got the time. So, Roger.
Right, I attended a meeting of the Alexandria District Museum Board. Attended a meeting of Keep Alexandria Clyde Beautiful. And I might mention that those two organisations I represent the Vincent Community Board on, so they may be two of the last meetings I ever go to of those particular organisations. Someone else may be representing VCB next time round. I attended two meetings at Elevate Business Group. I found that useful as a networking organisation. Attended the Alexandria Community House AGM. Helped with the planting at the half mile organised by Haihaiata Trust. That incidentally was not on the main chunk of the half mile, but on the little triangular piece the other side of Shawman Road, if you know the area. That was well supported by the community. Attended a meeting of the Dunstan Friendship Club. Attended a meeting of staff of the council and of Central Stories, together with trustees of ADMI. That was centred on issues around the museum and council's relationship to the museum, support of the museum. I chaired a meeting at Creative Writers Circle and attended a meeting of the Central Otago District Arts Trust. That's me. Thank you.
Before Martin, so is that the planting, is that in that secondary space across the road?
Yeah, so if instead of going up onto the main part of the half mile, you go across the other side of Shawman Road, which is the road that goes off Aranui Road, and it's a piece of hillside that did have pine trees on it. Pine trees have been removed, and it's was worked over to make it suitable for planting. So yes.
Martin.
9 weeks to Blossom Festival. Spring is springing. The festival is looking on target for 2025. With record numbers of participation in the markets, and they sold out by the end of March. So, and with a wait list now of in excess of about 70 people wanting to join. So it's getting beyond silly. Our funding status is I mean, the council's approving of the grant has been welcomed by the committee, and gives us some surety going forward. And in the next couple of weeks, we'll be announcing our feature acts and entertainment. And hopefully, by the close of play today, I may have a result as far as the liquor licensing concerns that we're currently involved with. But it's been keeping me quite busy. Hearings panel has been keeping me quite busy. There's been quite a lot on. The panel a subdivision proposal for a site Upper Clutha back in December last year, and the meeting was finally closed yesterday with a huge amount of evidence. My pile of paper on my desk was about this high. So it's been quite a controversial one, and the result of that will be out in the public domain in due course. But the work keeps coming in, even though many of you would have noted that some comments from the Minister at the local government conference about change to the RMA. The reality is that even though what the Minister said, the fact sheet which back it up, there's a kind of difference in what the Minister was saying, what the actuality of what's going on. Really, it is business as usual for us in many ways. Private plan changes have not been affected, so the private plan change mooted for was plan change 23. That will be heard after the elections later in October. That will still go ahead, and I'm assured by our planning team that it really is a business as usual approach. But we'll be waiting with bated breath to see what actually comes out of Wellington as far as in relation to change to the RMA, because it's going to be quite significant. And the reality is we don't know. That's me.
Tony?
Oh, yeah.
So you've had quite a wrangle on your liquor licence, which is probably not limited to the Blossom Festival, is it?
It's a nationwide concern amongst in the industry. I'm waiting to hear what the results of our appeal process is before I go back to the industry and see what we can do. It's a change to the wording of the Act, and it's the way it's been interpreted that groups like Blossom Festival cannot get an umbrella liquor licence like we always have had in the past. Each individual vendor has to apply for a liquor licence, and we're arguing that that takes away the control we have as the event management has over that event. There are various workarounds that are promoted, and a workaround to me is that the current legislation isn't working. So there is a process now where we can go to Wellington and appeal it, but I'm waiting to hear what the results are before I start talking to the events industry, because I don't propose Blossom Festival leads this charge. I think the industry needs to lead this charge. The law relationship, basically an ass. Yes.
Or is it the interpretation of?
Yes, it is the way it's been interpreted.
Because my understanding, if you take it to that letter, that each of the stores needs to be fenced off. Like this, like the other outside a fenced off area, which for the
and can you mention that in Blossom Festival, the way that we've created that arena there, which is food and wine, and then you have to have individual areas partitioned in it. And the argument I put to the committee was that's only going to encourage excessive drinking, because you're in there, you're sculling, and you're going back out to your family again instead of the atmosphere that we have created. And probably the most annoying thing about this whole process is that police and health have overwhelmingly supported the Blossom Festival in its management of liquor, and we have had no reported incidents in the last 10 years. So my attitude is that ain't broke, it doesn't need fixing. So I'm waiting with bated breath. I'll keep you informed.
What are the dates of Blossom Festival this year?
27th of September. I can tell you right now.
But yeah, for anybody that usually works on the weekends, if you haven't taken the time off, get those applications in now.
Just out of interest to everybody, it's always the fourth weekend in September, not the last weekend in September, because sometimes September has 5 weekends. Watch its face. That's me.
No, thank you. I'm enjoying this dialogue and this conversation that we're having during this. It's quite a good way of doing it. So, Lindley.
It's been quite a busy week and month for me, but I'm really excited that I'm going to be a princess judge at the Blossom Festival.
I volunteered you, didn't I? That's right, yes.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Had a couple of council meetings and I've been working with Naseby Dark Sky and a lovely planning team, because they've got their final submission in August for international dark sky accreditation. So Vincent and Anne have been running around getting them the last of the information they need to be able to put their submission in. They've been working on it for well over 9 years, so fingers crossed that everything goes well. Amazing. And that's mine.
One question for you. So you've been quite involved with the dark sky stuff. And obviously the last meeting, and for a while now, we've had people coming in here talking about Vincent becoming a night sky space. Do you think that's something that is achievable in the future?
For other areas,
Or the Vincent?
well, the council are putting in a lot of work to ensure that the standards are met for accreditation. So there's no reason that they're saying that Central Otago has the best dark skies in the world. I mean, imagine living in Singapore, it's right, you can't see the sky because of the pollution, and look what we've got.
Yeah.
So no, I think it's achievable for Central Otago,
Yeah.
and it will be fantastic to see Naseby get over the line. I'm looking forward to it.
It's exciting for Naseby. Tracy?
I attended the LGNZ conference in Christchurch, and that was enlightening on many different areas. It was a really good opportunity to speak to other elected members and discuss things coming down the line from them, hear directly from ministers, which has been really good because I can impart that stuff straight back to other elected members. And so I reiterate what Martin said in relation to resource management changes that are being coming down the line. So I also attended a Central Otago Health Group meeting. I would like to let everybody know that we have the AGM coming up for the Central Otago AMP Association, and we invite any interested people to come and join us from right across our district. We're a very welcoming bunch, and it's a fabulous day. So if anyone is interested in joining us, it's in the paper at the moment, but it's on the 20th of August, and it's at the Industry Lane, the Manihira room. So I think it's 7 p.m. Double check that. That's my little bit of promotion for the Central Otago AP show.
Email it.
What's that, sorry?
Could you please email?
Email it to you. Yes, I can do that. We had our first inaugural meeting of the Regional Deals Group, and up until the election time, I have been appointed the deputy chair of that group, and the chair is Gretchen Robinson from the ORC. That's obviously up until the time of the elections, and so obviously there was a meeting held for that, and that's a really exciting piece of work that is looking at opportunity for our wider region. But Martin had attended the hearings panel and some work through council. And other than that, I've been busy on farm. The grass is literally still growing because the soil is fantastic. And I'm anticipating that come August, we're going to be cold again. Right when we start doing the lambing and shearing and lambing.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully you won't have too many moaning farmers about the weather, but it's probably likely.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing about that at the next meeting. Right, Tony.
Okay, attended a Ministry for the Environment webinar on freshwater infrastructure, which was sort of co-hosted by NBIE, MPI and DOC, which was quite bureaucratic, but kind of interesting as to what their thoughts were and challenges and ability to deliver. I'm at the finance team with Karen and Donna, and just trying to get a better understanding of balance sheets and profit and loss and accumulation of rates and whatever, which is pretty good value. Attended the Central Otago Rocket Tipu Cycling Club AGM and the Alexandra Blossom Festival AGM, and was, I think, on the shortlist to be a judge on the Prince and Princesses.
Yes, you are.
Just a lamb. I thought that you might have stepped into the brief.
No.
My lack of skills in that area might have been.
It's fine. You're on it.
Yeah. And it's an amazing opportunity.
Volunteering in the art, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity. I did it last year or this year, and I can tell you, if you have the opportunity to meet these exceptional young people, I would take it with both hands.
It's been well sold, so I'll be into it.
So we're feeling a bit left out on this side.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else?
No. Ready?
I'm happy to move that we receive those reports. Lynn will second it. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. So agenda item 25.5.7 on page 37, the governance report. Any questions or
I'll move
comments?
we take it as read.
Awesome. Seconder?
Yep.
Tracy?
There's not a great deal on there.
All in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried. And the date of our next meeting is the 8th of September, which will be the final one of Australian. And I believe that it might be a little bit longer because we've got the community and events and promotions grants for that one. Probably some of the wee things.
Yeah. Cool.
And that is us for this meeting. For anybody that might be watching, we're going to be closing this link and then opening another one because we have got a public workshop on an insurance update report.